August 26, 1940. Muskoka. Dear Margie, you will undoubtedly be surprised to learn I am at good old Muskoka again. I have been here nearly 2 weeks. I think I landed here about the time you ended your holidays. I was hoping to see you as it's not far to where you were staying, but I burned out a bearing in the motor which held up for over a week and darn near broke me besides. I came down on business, bringing Mother and Ted with me. We are trying to sell a piece of the lake property and a house in BB. However, money seems pretty tight. I have had a number of offers, but nothing worthwhile. Well, darling, I am glad you enjoyed your holidays. You had ideal weather, didn't you? I know it was hot up north. You did say you were in Bracebridge for a few hours, didn't you, and me only 4 miles away? What luck! I have really enjoyed myself so far, but everything seems changed. I went to Cedar Wild one night and they were dancing to the Nicolola, no orchestra and hardly any guests. All the people around here are new to me, although I have got to know a few, but it's not like other years. I dreamed up some work while here, so haven't had much time to run around. I expect to finish this week or the beginning of next. I will try and come down if even for only one day. I would like to get you up for Labor Day, but can't see my way clear at present, but if I see a change, would you come? This isn't expressing myself very well, dear, but I guess you know how I feel. Well, darling, I want to get this in the mail if possible. Gil and Don went to Niagara last night with the militia. Gil is trying the Air Force. So, Joyce and Dad are alone for a while. Well, darling, we'll write again soon. Excuse the pencil and paper, it's all I have here. As ever. Roger. P.S. What do you think of my new girlfriends? October 7, 1940. Dear Margie, you are probably wondering what has happened to me and why I haven't written you. I have been back to Muskoka since your letter received about 3 weeks ago, and really, dear, I have been so busy that I just didn't get around to it. I did start a letter about a week ago, but that is as far as it went, just to start. I had a breakdown with the car on my return trip this last time and was held up in Huntsville overnight. Was I mad? Burned out a bearing, but it didn't prove as expensive as I was afraid it would. You asked me if I have done anything about the Army. Doctor says to lay low for a while yet, although I did pass the militia doctor's okay. He says I could not make active service. The old ticker is a lot better and I am still on the wagon, haven't had anything except a bottle of beer the odd time since last winter, and I don't smoke in the morning, although I don't think that it makes much difference. So far as Air Force is concerned, they inform me that I am too old, as I have had no previous experience that would be of any benefit. So, my dear, that's the situation to date. Well, darling, what are you doing for recreation these swell autumn days? It has been perfect here in Muskoka for the past week, although cloudy today. Don went hunting yesterday and came home with 3 partridges. He was a tickled kid. So, you haven't started on your course yet and find it too expensive. These courses do walk away with plenty of money. I haven't worked on mine much this summer except to keep up with the drafting end of it, as one gets out of practice so easily. I have to get me a microscope someplace, have one in mind at Cobalt which I can pick up fairly cheap. Then I will be able to continue with the minerals. I have added about 8 new samples of minerals at about 21 samples to my collection, so we'll have lots of material to work on this winter. There doesn't seem to be much prospecting work going on around here, although the mines are working to full capacity. So, I believe there will be a big boom in the North Country shortly and open up a number of new mining fields. Well, darling, I can't think of more news unless it's war. However, I heard a chap say that this war with cause and conclusion can be found in Tennyson's poem Locksley Hall. I have read it a few times and I am beginning to wonder whether there is anything to it or not. How about looking it over and tell me what you see and what comparison you can make to this war? Well, Margie, you won't keep me waiting as long as I kept you in answering this letter, will you, dear? As ever. Roger XXX. October 20th, 1940. Dear Marg. Thanks, dear, for the letter received yesterday. I was so pleased to hear from you again. That was a long time between letters, too long. The last few days have been cold and windy. It snowed last night and today. In fact, it's snowing now and the ground is frozen. What a country. You mentioned skiing in your letter. that is something to look forward to at any rate. I sure wish I could go skiing with you, and Huntsville does sound tempting, but as you say, it is best to wait and see. So, you are knitting for the army. That's enough to make any man want to join up just to receive your things. I wish I was in it, no fooling. But at present they are not recruiting around here. Then again, they have my number, although I feel fine. Gil has had no word regarding his call as yet and is anxiously waiting. You have never mentioned your brother. Is he still in Canada? He is in the medical or ambulance corps, isn't he? So, you read Locksley Hall. I'm glad you liked it, although there are only a few stanzas pertaining to the vision. Mr. George Tuff has the lines till the war drum throbs no longer, and the battle flags are furled. In the Parliament of Man, the Federation of the World, carved on the fireplace in small Old English letters. This was about 6 or 7 years ago when his friend Van Possen was foreign correspondent for the Star. Van Possen worked in Canada then, but no one would bother reading his stuff. I thought Mr. Tuff was jumping at conclusions when he used to uphold his friend's writings, but apparently they were correct. I am sorry you read the other poem 60 years later. To me, Tennyson has spoiled the whole theme of his first prediction by appearing too anxious and impatient for the future. He seems to expect all his predictions to come to pass during his own life, while the first poem left the reader of any age with a brighter picture of any future. That's not wording it well, but I can't seem to find another wording. I have just finished reading 2 books by Judge Rutherford, the head of the Holy Rollers, and really, it's so disgustingly ridiculous that only some illiterate religious fanatic could swallow it. His followers are the people of some Israelite movement whom are causing trouble in some of the cities, especially Hamilton. The main book is called Enemies, and he takes a passage from the Bible, then translates and twists it to his own ends. Well, darling, that's enough about books and poems, unless it's a poem about you, but I don't know a poet capable of writing one. So, you are going back to school. You never said how you fared with examinations on last year's work or whether you wrote any. I have a few more books and some more testing chemicals, but can't seem to make up enough money for a microscope. However, there is plenty to learn without it. Well, Marg, that's about all my line at present, so write soon. That's a dear. As ever. Roger XXX.